Have I got a treat for you today? My guest is a curious soul with a passport full of dreams. Hi, I'm Travel Grandma, and I am so excited to introduce you to Elizabeth O'Carroll, a world traveler, ESL teacher, rehabilitation counselor, and minister of metaphysics. She finds limitless inspiration through the many beautiful souls who have graced her path in life. She says, and I quote, "Everywhere there is an amazing story waiting to be written." As a 60-something solo traveler, author, and lifelong book lover, she is rediscovering life on the road with her new Soulful at 60 Passport on Pennies YouTube channel. After decades of caring for everyone else, she packed her bags and began choosing herself with a backpack, a Kindle, and $1,000 a month travel budget. Through the power of work exchange programs, simplicity, and intentional living, she roams the world, slowly, meaningfully, with books as her daily guide. She also hosts the Gimme 5 review and author interviews channel and is reviving her Love Symposium channel. Please welcome my guest, Elizabeth O'Carroll. So, welcome, Elizabeth. It's so good to have you on.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So, we actually met on a platform and we were putting together our courses. I think you were doing one for your son, and I was doing one for my community. And we got to talking, and we have so many things in common. So
Yeah,
many, I couldn't even believe it.
it's like you were my twin.
I know. Well, you're in South Korea right now, and we both have daughter in laws that are South Korean. That's one
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
We're both authors
Yes.
of multiple books.
Yes.
Yes, okay. We both love to travel.
Definitely.
And our style, I could not absolutely believe that our style is exactly the same.
Well,
Doing work exchange programs on less than $1,000 a month.
I don't meet too many people that are on that know about the work exchange. So when you said that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, she does it too."
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start with something that you mentioned to me actually that you're going to in the near future. You got some gigs.
I got some gigs. So going with Workaway, which is the work exchange platform where you can find hosts in whatever country doing whatever things you like to do. If you're not familiar with work exchange, but I know you are, but if our listeners aren't, it's where they provide room and board in exchange for like 2 to 4 hours a day working on their projects, whatever they have going. And they're really generous. And most hosts will take you around to the local tourist areas and those sort of things on your days off if you like, or you're just open to explore. So my first stop, I fly out on April 8th, is to Corsica, France.
Nice.
And this is a unique place that I didn't realize at first when I signed up with the host. It's an island off of the main France. And so you can only get there by airplane or by boat. And
Mhm.
they're a German family. Back in 1979, they found this abandoned town up in the mountains with a chapel and some, houses and some stores that were empty except for one. And there was an older German man there who was living there, and he was getting older and he wanted to return to Germany. So he asked them if they wanted to buy the town, which they did. I don't know what the
Mhm.
price was, but they bought this town and they raised their kids there. And the oldest one now is 19. So it's just them, it's just the four of them. And they need some help with the garden and clearing the
Mhm.
brambles and just keeping the place up. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah. So that's going to be real remote for you.
Yeah, because I think she said for hot water for the tub, we have firewood that we put under the tub to light the fire to heat up your water. And then in the summer, it's a solar power. Fill up the big water bladder, I guess, with the sun heats it up, and then take a shower that way. So I guess I'll learn about
Right.
composting.
Uh-huh. Oh my goodness. And where are you going after that? You've got about what, about 5, 6 months you're going to be gone?
6 months, yeah, so far. May or may not come back during that time to Korea. Not sure. Just see how it goes. So I
Mm-hmm.
will be with them for almost 3 months, and then I'll fly
Oh.
to Poland.
Mm-hmm.
And that work exchange is going to be fun. It's with Angleville, and I'll be having situational English with the Polish executives and business people that are trying to improve their English. They stay at the hotel, so it's a long day. You eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them, and have conversation with them, and do activities. And when the day is over, if you want to go drink with them and have Polish sausages, you can do that too. It's my
Mm-hmm.
second time to volunteer with them, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's the one that I spoke with them. I believe I'm going to go in September,
That would be
something like
cool. I
that.
hope maybe I could join you on
Yeah.
that one, but I'm not sure.
Uh-huh. Depends where you're at, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Just yep. I'm just gonna follow the breadcrumbs that the universe lays out for me and see where it goes after
Mm-hmm.
Poland. So,
Right, right. And how are you managing your visas?
well, recently they introduced in UK in Europe ETIA visa that you have to get in order to travel around all of Europe, and it's good for 1 year, and it only costs €10.
Okay.
But and it's attached to your passport. You give them your passport number. The UK government approves it. It gets attached to your passport. Even though they physically didn't have my passport, they said, "Oh, you don't need to print off the proof." But it's necessary because, Elaine, I had a huge financial pain and emotional
Mm-hmm.
pain when I was going to go to Australia. I didn't know, but I
Mm-hmm.
had non-refundable flights and non-refundable hotel equivaling about maybe $1,600. I got to the counter and he asked, "Where's your entry visa, your travel visa for Australia?" Well, the agency that helped me book the ticket, they didn't say anything about that. And I just thought, American, I have 90 days reciprocal in every country, right? Wrong. So for a
Oh.
$10 visa like the one I got in Europe, I had to forfeit my flight. The nice clerk, he tried to get online. He tried to get me approved so that I could board, but then the plane was boarding and he said, "We're not going to make it." And so I lost $1,800 just standing there.
Ah.
So I had it this time.
Is that a new rule? Because last time I flew to Europe was 2018. So at that time it was just 3 months and that was it. I didn't get a visa. It was just 3 months.
Yeah, it just happened in February 2025.
Okay, so it's brand new. Okay. And
Make
how do
sure
you
you get
apply for
it.
that?
They will not
Yeah.
let you board the plane without it.
Okay. Because I saw my son. Well, I went actually in 24,
Uh-huh.
and you said February. Okay,
February.
so I was back before then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. New, but boy, you got to keep up on those things, huh? If you want to be a
You
world
really
traveler.
do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it went, and I kind of feel like it's like a way of them to raise money in a way for the country. I don't know.
Uh,
Another
so
tariff,
how
and that's
many?
another talk show.
Yeah, yeah, that's another talk show. So, how many countries have you been to?
You know, Elaine, I lost count at 22.
Wow.
I'm speculating around maybe 30 countries so far.
And have they all been work exchange programs? For most of them?
No, not all of them. Some were just like Argentina. I went with a friend. He invited me along and we got to explore Argentina. And Bermuda, I was invited along with a professional golf team, which was nice. So I got to be the caddy and carry the clubs, which was fun.
Uh-huh.
So, but in 2018, I did 6 month tour. I think it was like 6 or 8 countries, and those were all with host families.
Uh-huh. Same time I was, yeah. I was gone for
Yeah.
5 months at that
Where'd
time.
you go?
Oh my, I was in Italy and Belgium and Paris. Then I went over to Egypt. I didn't do host family in Egypt. I booked that separately.
Mhm.
That was an experience. I mean, you're American, they really take care of you over there. You have to go right with them. You can't go by anywhere by yourself. Everything is like armed guards everywhere.
That must have been
Yeah.
scary.
I wasn't scared because I felt confident with the people that I booked it with, but
Mhm.
I had such a great experience because after a while you get tired of going to museums and things like that. And I said, you know what? I just want to see where the local people live.
Yes.
I mean, I got to ride a donkey cart down on the farm and eat with the locals, and they made me bread in their little oven in their backyard.
Wow.
It was fabulous. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had booked a different kind of a tour,
Mhm.
but because I was by myself and I had a private tour guide, I was able to do that.
Nice. And those are
Yeah.
experiences like you can't get at home. Even if you try to
Right.
recreate them or emulate them in your backyard, it's just not the same.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the culture.
Mhm.
And like you said, when you visit, it's like you have a built-in tour guide.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
It
fabulous.
really is.
Yeah, I love
I've
it.
learned so much. When I was in Croatia, I learned that olive trees can be over 1,000 years old.
Yeah, I was in Croatia as well. Yeah.
Yeah, this family, they inherited the great great grandparents' orchard and the grandparents' orchard and then their orchard, and they had so many olive trees, and naturally they made olive oil, right? Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had no
Yeah.
idea. I learned so much.
Yeah. So, and you are also an author. Now, how
Yes,
many
indeed.
books have you published? And we also publish through the same publishing company, Ingram Spark.
Yes, yes. And what a journey. That's a whole nother talk show too, as being an indie publisher. Um, it's quite a journey. I don't know, Elaine, how many books I have. Maybe 10?
Okay, you got me beat. I think I've got 8, but really, I would say 5. And then I have a couple pocketbooks and things like that, little, small,
Well,
little ones. But
in,
yeah, let's see
interesting
what you got.
interesting in on one of those work exchange in Germany, I was actually started out in Denmark. I was finishing my first book that I started in Korea when I was teaching, and then I continued to write on my laptop and then finished it like in Denmark with Hanu. On my time off, I would lay out in the garden, and she had this beautiful little bench area with herbs growing, and I would just listen on audio what I'd already written, and then I would just get to my keyboard and start typing. And then I finished it when I got to the next host in Germany, and they were so kind, the Eric and Bianca. They ordered the book from Amazon, and
Oh,
they surprised me with my very first physical copy. And your first book is usually one of those ones that go on the shelf and then nobody ever reads it. Uh, so it's very elementary, right? It's got my son's academy down here because he put it on the academy shelves and the kids checked it out there. But
okay.
Taesung's Peculiar Life, right? Taesung and the Snake. So actually, one of the elementary students, they came into class and they said, "Teacher, there's some kids that were throwing rocks at a snake that a car ran over and it was flopping around." Well, being a teacher, as you know, it's a good opportunity to teach morals and respect. And so, in this book, then my student, I asked Lucy. She named herself Lucy Liu. She drew the pictures, and she's only
Oh,
10 years old, right? So she drew the pictures in the back. There's Lucy Liu,
uh-huh.
right? And so that was my first edition, and then people were like, "Oh, your cover's so elementary." So then I came out with the next cover, which I hired a Fiverr designer to do, um,
Mm-hmm.
and I still kept. No, I didn't. Then I had a new illustrator, Osama,
Mm-hmm.
and he redid the pictures inside. So it's a middle grade chapter book, but he did a great job with the pictures. Was the second cover, and now there's even a new cover that I had designed and reformatted. Because people when they come on, they do your reviews. Love the story. Did you know that there's too many dot dot dots? Those are called ellipses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, I'll go back, proofread, do that again. And then after that, my good friend who lives in Alabama, we've been friends forever. We were talking one day and she said, I was down in Florida by the beach and there was this plastic bag floating on the ocean and a jellyfish coming up to meet the plastic bag. And I thought, what if those two fell in love? I'm like, that's a story. Jellyfish. So then we created When Milo Met Sari. And
Oh,
Sari is the balloon, right? We had another illustrator from Fiverr who created this one, all the images in here. So it's a children's book, not a chapter book, but she created the images inside. But Sari with a
those are
balloon
nice.
at a sorry, you're leaving. Good luck with your new future. And these helium balloons get released up into the sky, right? So the book addresses the hazards of helium balloon release, which,
Mhm.
like our birds can get tangled up in that, right? And bring it
Mhm.
back to the nest and try to feed it to the babies and they die from it. See, here's the seagull feeding it to its baby,
Right.
right? That was one of the
Mm.
balloons that got away. But what happens with Sari is Milo sees this beautiful gold thing up in the ocean. He said, "What is that beautiful gold thing?" Right? And then he says, "Oh, he's." We kind of coined his personality after Pepe Le Pew. Ah, Mademoiselle, you are so beautiful. He falls in love with Sorry. Right. So, anyways,
Mm,
it just goes on, and here's my co-author and I. We're in Prague when this picture was taken. So that
okay.
was the first one, and this one's translated into 6 different languages.
Nice.
And then we wrote the book When Milo Met Professor Seymour, who is a sea worm, very wise guy, a wise worm, just a wise guy, wise worm. And this book is about the microplastics, right? So here you can see
Mm,
the styrofoam, right?
right.
And oh, those fish are eating that white candy, and they're like, what is this white candy? So they go on this long journey with the school of fish and Tuala, the
Mhm.
turtle. And they go find, oh, and this is the teacher for the school of the fish, right? They go find
Mhm.
the wise Seymour. Oh, and they even get met by a shark that wants to eat them along the way.
Wow.
But
I love the pictures.
the picture she did in Tamara, yeah, she's in Siberia. She drew these.
Okay.
So, and then as it ends off, the very last page, there's a dolphin that's lost, and Milo's like, "Hello, friend, where are you going?" Which leads into book 3, When Milo Met
Ah,
Dolly. And she's being affected by the seismic blasting in the ocean and her ultrasonic hearing, the radar hearing that they have, she can't hear and she gets lost from her pods. She's sad because she can't find her other dolphins in her pod, and she's a spotted dolphin. Um, so we even had a joke about indentured. You have to read the book. But they consult a wise whale who's also been
mm,
trapped by nets, and he shows how he's trapped by nets, right?
mm,
And these are
mhm,
the ultra seismic things going out there. We see how the coral reef is being affected too.
mhm.
So they meet Dr. Sturgeon, and then we find another dolphin who's beached herself because that's what they do. They kind of commit suicide when they can't find their pods and they beach themselves, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of issues that are addressed in here, but the nice humans do come and get that beached dolphin back into the water and save her, right? And she gets to meet her pod. She's so happy. So anyway,
Okay.
I won't tell you how
Yeah.
it ends, but it is the last one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's my children's
So,
book series. I also have nonfiction. So, being a rehabilitation counselor, I wrote one for baby boomers and how to address the issue of their adult children, disabled children, are in their
oh,
50s now, right? And they're starting to
mhm.
pass away. So, these adult children with disabilities will no longer have a caregiver, and they're very worried about where will they wind up when I pass. Now I need care.
Oh.
What's going to happen to my
Mm-hmm.
adult child when I die, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
addresses that. I also have Love Knows No Race and Gender. And then I have, gosh, what's another one? Oh, I don't have it here with me, but Mr. Che and Nabi, and that's with a Korean man here in obviously Korea. We met through, I found a tiny little kitten that was 7 days old in the middle of a typhoon. I had to bottle feed it every 2 hours until he was 4 weeks old. It was a long four
Mm-hmm.
weeks, but he made it. And Mr. Che owns the pet store and he rescues the stray animals and finds them homes and had famous soccer players adopt some of his cats and dogs. And so we wrote a book, Mr. Che and Nabi, his journey since he was 5 years old with his first cat, Nabi, which means butterfly in Korean. And
Mm-hmm.
then my story's in the back, and it's in Korean and English, so it's dual language. I have a lot of my books are
Oh,
dual language. Yeah. So
that's nice.
I'm
Wow.
leaving out some. Oh yeah, pug. So I don't have the book to flash you, but it's properly prepared pugs can fly, and it's. I teamed up with the veterinarian. He talks all about the brachiocephalic breeds because I wanted to know if my pug could get on an airplane and travel with me, and sadly she can't. She's too old and she can't breathe, and it's just not good for pugs. So then I came up with the inspiration to develop the little Proper Pugs Old Maid card game. This one is just coming out on Amazon. It's not listed. I've been battling with Amazon lately, but it has the another illustrator off of Fiverr created. Um, this was based after Elvis. Let's see if you can see that. Whoop. All the different trending career pugs in there. So,
Mm.
anyways, yeah, that's
Wow. You are a busy lady.
right. Well, so are you. Holy Richard, are
Well,
busy.
you actually have what? Is it 3 YouTube channels?
Yes, I reinvented one that I started years ago. Just right after my mom passed away because it was a difficult time and I wanted to know what is love. So that's Love Symposium. And that goes in line with my third master's degree, which is in metaphysics through the Arizona University of
Okay.
Metaphysics. So technically, I'm a reverend, the ministry of metaphysics. So I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to, in that channel, I address mind, body, spirit connection. So what's going in, you know, in the brain, in the body? Are we walking the walk? So it kind of, it's a holistic kind of thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
revived that. And so my friends reached out and said, well, let's see, it was 2016 was your last post.
Okay. Oh, that's okay. So then you have the Gimme Five,
At the
your
Give Me
book
Five,
book
where
reviews.
your interview will be coming up soon on that one. For I interview authors and their books, and I also do book reviews on that one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other one I was going is my most latest one that I've been working on diligently. I only have 8 subscribers. Woo! Gotta
I'm
start
one of
somewhere.
them.
Yay! Yay! Thank you. Um, it's Soulful at 60, Passport on Pennies, and I went to your channel, the Travel Grandma, and loved it. And I was like the van life and everything because that was something I was going to do with my friend was travel the U.S. and get a van or an RV, and so I know that's super popular. So it's for 50s, 60s something women, solo travelers, and on a budget because sadly, my retirement got spent on my son's private university. And then I came
Not
to Korea.
sadly,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he did
So,
use it, so
yeah, yeah, he's doing
yeah.
wonderful. And that's all you can hope for. Well spent. So now I
Mhm.
have a $1,000 a month Social Security. It's very social, but not too secure, as we know.
Yeah.
And so I'm letting my viewers know how I'm stretching that so that they don't give up on their dreams, right? A lot of people say, and I think you said this in your school, in your community, where if not now, when, right? If you keep waiting to
Mhm.
save up and you keep waiting to retire, you keep waiting, you're always going to be waiting. There's never going to be a
Right.
perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect scenario. Just do it, right? So the work exchange helps hugely, and then the biggest expense is the air flights, right?
Right. That's why when we go, we stay like a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And once you're there, as you know, Elaine, there's EasyJet and Rainier Air, Whiz, I think it is. As long and all I'm carrying is just a backpack so that'll go
Yep,
under the
and
seat.
trains. You can go everywhere with a train.
But yeah,
It's marvelous. Yeah.
well, once you're in Europe, stay a while,
If
right?
you can, you know. Yeah,
If you
now
can,
it's
yeah,
great that you can get a year's visa like that. That's marvelous. I didn't realize that. This like
yeah.
opens up a whole new thing for me now.
Uh huh. Your husband's gonna be like, "And where are you in the world today?"
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
Well,
I love it.
actually, my older son actually did put in for Italian citizenship, and we do qualify from my grandmother. Now, it's interesting because my husband is full-blooded Italian,
Wow.
and
Mamma
yeah,
mia.
yeah, and for me, I'm only half. It's just from my mother's side.
Okay.
So it's interesting. For some reason, he was not able to get it, but we can through my grandmother, my mother's mother. So we'll see. We're still waiting, but it should come in this year. But heck, now with the new laws,
Yeah,
it's
that's
fabulous.
that's inspirational too, because I think we talked about this in the past. Is I have the Irish heritage too, but my mother sadly
Hmm.
passed away. She was on a mission to start getting us our dual citizenship after I took her there, but it was one of those things that kept taking a shelf, and then she left me. She left me with all this paperwork, and I don't know what to do
Hmm.
with it.
Yeah. Oh, you'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And maybe
Wow.
a trip to Ireland with a ton of paperwork in my suitcase. Help!
Yeah. Huh?
You never
Have you
know.
been to Ireland? Did you go back?
Yes, actually, I took my mom to Europe actually for a month and because she left Ireland when she was 2 years old. And it was funny because it wasn't until we landed at the airport in Dublin she started rolling her R's. Like you were two when you left.
Okay. Yeah.
I
It
had to
never
get the
leaves you, though. It's
right.
interesting. I had never been to Italy, and my husband had never as well. And when we were there together, we just felt at home. It was
Hmm.
something that just came out in both of us. It was the weirdest feeling.
It's
You
like your
just felt,
soul had been
wow.
there before, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That is so cool. Yeah. My mother, she didn't want, and here's another traveler's dilemma. She didn't want to pre-book any hotels except for the one that we had the first night in Dublin when our flights arrived, right? So it's like, okay, we're just gonna wing this, right? But don't you know, those Irish people were having festivals in every town, everywhere, and all the hotels were booked up. So in the rental car, we were pulled over in a semi, and there's no trees anywhere. It's pretty flat with the stone, as you know, stone little fences. Pulled over on the side of the road, and she had to go pee at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, and no cell phones at that time, so she was like with a little flashlight out there on the side of the road, going hand
yeah.
sanitizer. Oh, we got the
Been there,
last
done
rental
that.
car. It was
Oh,
turning on
wow.
the right on the wrong side of the road, stick shift with the left. My first experience with the roundabouts is like, there's your turn. Oh God, I missed it. There's your turn. I missed it again. It's like, ah.
Yeah. Wow. Other than the gigs that you get that you prearrange, obviously, do you just kind of like fly by the seat of your pants like I do? Or do you have
um,
everything pretty much planned out?
with my first travel back in 2016 for 6 months, it was pretty much coordinated from one host to the next. And it was just like maybe in between staying at a youth hostel for a couple days while I was making the transition, right? Something like that. So it was pretty much planned out. But this time, other than the first two hosts, I don't have a plan after July 17th, but I am thinking of visiting a friend in Australia and they have a rehabilitation sea turtle program. You have to pay for this one.
Oh.
It's like $200
Hmm.
a week, but you get housed and you get your meals, that's cheap, right?
Yeah,
And you get to work with the
yeah.
turtles.
I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to South Africa.
Oh, really? What
Yeah,
part?
I'd love to do that. I don't know. I mean, Christine from our community,
Mm-hmm.
from the Share Your Gifts community that I just
Yes.
started, she's in South Africa. I'd
Oh, yeah,
love to do
yeah.
that.
That's
Yeah, and Larissa, she's in Sweden. You should hook up
nice.
with her.
There you go.
That's not too far from Poland, actually.
And
Contact
actually,
her.
I met another person on your community who's in Malta, which is just below Italy. Maybe we can meet up.
Yeah,
Keep
there's
it up.
another girl. She's in Berlin.
Perfect. Wow.
Yeah, we are like worldwide. It's fabulous.
I love it. Since the internet, invention of the internet, there's no excuse to be bored, and there's no excuse to not get connected, right? And there's no excuse not to
Mhm.
learn because it's just you could just go down the rabbit hole all day long with podcasts and YouTubes, and I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
noticed that when I was visiting a lot of other travel channels, there was a lot of travel hacks, what to pack, that sort of thing, and how to pack it, and your makeup and all that stuff. But it was a lot of interesting stuff, but nobody really addressed the personal journey end of it, right? So, in conjunction with the travel, I'm going to be reviewing books that are going to relate to each stage of my journey. And right now, for me, what is hard is, I leave just in 3 days, 3 days, is leaving my family behind, right? Because even though I'm only going to be gone 6 months, however long I'm going to be gone, it's still a bereavement, isn't it? It's a change of your lifestyle. It's like I've been with my grandsons for 4 years nonstop, and now I'm not going
Okay.
to get to see them. And I don't know, you have
And they're
grandchildren.
babies, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, three
Yeah.
and one. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's really hard. Well, he'll be 4 in July. It's really hard to make that change because you feel
Mm-hmm.
selfish. You get all these guilty feelings of leaving, and does your family need you? But at some point, you have to choose yourself. And I've chosen everyone else all my life. So now I'm going to finally choose me. And I find that's difficult transition. And I know that's one reason why I was attracted to you and your community with your book gifts, because it is giving us permission to choose ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
to revel in the fact that we have treasures of wisdom. We have the ability to give, but also to give back to ourselves first. Because if you don't, you have nothing left to give. And
Right.
so I'm going to be addressing the books that relate as I go, not just like on budget travel, but from the emotional standpoint and how I'll be evolving. Because I feel that travel is very cathartic, isn't it?
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah. I'm going to share a little story with you. When I first was doing van life, sort of, part time,
Yeah.
and we had two little ones. They were probably, well, they're a year apart, but they were babies. She was probably about a little over a year, and then she had a little sister, a couple months old when I had left for several months. These are the grandchildren that live close to us, within like 10, 15 minutes away.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And I'd always go with my husband or I'd go by myself to visit and stuff like that. While I was gone, my husband formed such a bond with those two girls that was amazing. And here's the thing, sometimes when you're not there, you give other people permission to really shine, and come out of themselves to take on kind of that role. I mean, he's always been a great father, a great grandfather, but he's never really done it totally by himself like that. It was amazing to see because when I came back, I saw that bond like I've never seen it before with any of our other grandchildren. And he to this day is so close, especially to the baby. It's
Wow.
amazing. So
You know,
sometimes when you step away from something, it leaves room for other things to happen.
yeah.
With my grandson, when they were living in South Korea for a while, he was young then. He was probably like 5. Now he's older. He's 11. I think maybe he's 12. Anyway, I lose track. There's so many. But anyway, now they're living in Portugal.
Mm,
But even still, when he was small and now we've always obviously has the internet. We've always connected via, WhatsApp or Zoom. usually WhatsApp. And it's a different kind of a relationship. But when I went back in Portugal, there's no lost time, just as
Yeah.
long as you keep in touch with them.
Goodness, I mean, definitely the internet has made life easier for traveling, having your navigation on your phone, being able to have FaceTime with your family on your phone, being a digital nomad that I am, being able to do things on my phone, you know that well. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Elaine, because I was reading a blog the other day and the title was Let Them Miss You.
Mm,
And
interesting.
I think too that, like you said, you were both in playing your designated roles, your prospective roles, right? But when you stepped out, that left this area, this space that
Mhm.
he evolved into and grew into and was able to form that bond with his grandkids. And I completely agree, because I know that my son and my daughter-in-law and the kids, I've been with them since day one, as I said. uh, my son owns an academy, and I've been the fill-in teacher. I've been the full-time teacher. I've helped them build their business, right from buying the microwave for the teacher's room to teaching the classes to watering the plants to scrubbing the toilets to watching the kids, to just doing everything, right?
Mhm.
And now they're a successful business and they have 3 teachers, right? And I'm stepping away, and already my son said today, we share still a room where he comes and teaches on the weekends, so he doesn't have to travel hour and a half back home when he's really tired after teaching 9 hours. He says, "So don't stay too long. Make sure you come
Oh.
back."
Mhm.
But I agree, Elaine. I think that when I'm gone, my son and daughter-in-law will be able to grow into new levels of being parents themselves. Because, like my son said, our kids are raising us. They're making us adult up, right? And you don't really realize um, how much you're connected to each other until, like, with you and your husband, there's that space. And it brings a whole new level of growth and appreciation for each other, I think. It's a good point.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, our relationship has really grown since I've been gone and come back, and I'm gone and come back. Sometimes they go, "Where in the world is Grandma?" My son will call me, "Are you home or where are you at?"
Yeah, I think you mentioned to me that's the reason why you started the Travel Grandma channel was so that your family would know where in the world you were, what you were doing. So my Soulful at 60 will be similar to that, but then also helping me become a better traveler, a better person, and sharing my journey. I hope that it inspires and helps other women to step out. If not now, when? Just do it. If I could do it on $1,000 a month budget, then so can you, right? And I think there
Right.
was one lady out there that traveled the world for free, and that's another book I'm going to read. But yeah, I want
Mhm.
to, as with all my channels, I like the holistic, mind, body, spirit thing. And so what we're going through in our 60 something years, things that are falling apart, whiskers that are growing on your chin, just where the heck, it's like overnight a 7-inch long gray hair is like, what happened there, right? Things changing, and to get out there and do it while you still have a healthy body, while you still have the motivation to do it, so that when you are 90 years old sitting on your porch talking to your great grandchildren, you can say, "This is what Grandma did."
Yeah, yeah,
Right? You can
yeah.
say
I
that.
think it's fabulous. I think it's fabulous. I'd love to be a world traveler. Just got to
Well,
take the opportunity. You just have to put in the effort to go on these communities, really, and put yourself out there. That's
and
where the Travel Grandma name came from, was from the workaway programs, because I was promoting myself as a grandma, travel grandma. I figured that's like a safe bet for people to have in their home. It felt safe to me because I figured, if they have kids, how bad could they be? So that's where the name came from originally.
yeah,
Was from
and I think that as humans, we're natural storytellers to share our
that.
experiences so that we can grow from each other's experiences, right? So, my son and I were talking about how he loves to listen to podcasts about people's lives and he loves to read biographies, and because you can learn through their experience, and that comes down in the T in your gifts right, is the treasure, the wisdom, because you can learn from
Mhm.
others, you can teach others, and through that we grow together. And, this grand adventure of life, right? Spirits having a human adventure.
Right, right, yeah, yeah. It just like all fits together,
Hmm.
you know? My book was actually inspired when I was on a trip. I was down in Flagstaff, Arizona, actually. I was staying with some friends and we were camping in the forest.
Wow.
And I was doing a lot of like self-care, a lot of just like healing work from just like childhood stuff that was just bugging me, you know? It's just like some things like they just bug you and you can't kind of get over them.
Yeah.
And that's what inspired the whole gifts book. And that acronym, G is for gratitude. You have to have that gratitude. Otherwise, what's the purpose if you're not grateful for the things that you have and the people in your life and the earth? It's so important. And then the I thought, well, you have to have intention in your day. But it has to come from within. It has to come from your intuition. So I came up with intuitive intention was the
Yes.
I in gifts. And then the family and friends, how important they are, and all your communication and the relationship that you form, and even the boundaries that you form, and the respect you have for each other. That's the F.
Hmm.
And then the T, like you mentioned, was treasured wisdom. We all have something to share. And if you're not sharing it with the world, why are you hoarding it? And
Yeah.
that's where that whole treasured wisdom comes in. But
Hmm.
it all boils down to when I started to say in the beginning how this all came about, it all boils down to that self love and self care. Because if you don't have that, you really have nothing,
Yeah,
you
you're
know?
absolutely right. And as you were saying that, Elaine, you were talking about boundaries and self love. And I have not been good at setting boundaries. I've been the yes person all my life. And yes, I'll
Mm-hmm.
do that. Yes, I'll help you with that. And to the expense of my own health and everything. And some people say, oh, you're just a martyr, saying yes to everybody. But ever since I was a little kid, I would rub my grandma's feet. I just always loved to be of service. And I believe it's the book, The Five Languages of Love, and mine is being of service. However, the self care part is something I never really invested in. And that's drawing the boundaries. And I did learn from my Korean daughter in law. She's a very good boundary setter. And that kind of miffed me a little bit. I'm like, gosh, you're just a control freak. No, she's a boundary setter. And that helps keep her life all in check and everybody else in check the way she wants or needs them to show up for her or whatever. But for me, the ability to say no once in a while is okay. And the ability to say, thank you though, or I'd really like to, but I'm going to do this. And my son is like, when I first went traveling, he's like, okay, you're just going to go discover yourself, right? Your family's here. Why do you need to go travel the world and go discover yourself? What are you looking for? Everything is right here that you need is your family, right? And he didn't really get it. And this time we were talking about it, and he's like, he says, I still don't get it why you feel the need to go do all these things. I said, because it's life, it's an experience, it's an adventure, right? And I told him sometimes the people that you meet along the way that kind of become your extended family feel more like family because they don't view you through the same lens of experience, because your family knows you. They know all your ups and downs, your divorces, your this, your that, the things that you maybe could have done a whole lot better. And they keep viewing you through that perspective. And you can never
Mm-hmm.
escape that perspective. You're just like, give me some credit. That's been 40 years ago and I've grown, right? But they still see you as that person. But your extended family, the people who just see you for who you are right here, right now, they don't have those conditions to judge you by, to view you by, and they just see you for who you are right now. And I love that.
Yeah.
So I love getting
Mm-hmm.
out and meeting new people and just sharing with them because they see you without those
Yeah.
filters.
And that is what really makes you grow as a person because you're trying out different things that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah. And one of the books that I am going to be reviewing for my Love Symposium and for my Soulful 60 is about the detaching of the family expectations and what it means to let go in a healthy way, but still be connected and
Mm-hmm.
honoring yourself. And like you said, the self love, the self care. So this journey is going to be very cathartic about that. And it's not, someone said, it's not selfish, it's self fullness,
Ah, I like that.
filling yourself up. So self fulfilling. Hard to say.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
Yeah.
great point. Yeah. That's
So
fabulous. Yeah. I'm so excited for you.
well, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be a journey. I'm horribly uncoordinated with this whole YouTube thing. It's funny because I really don't like to be in front of a camera. I don't like getting my picture taken. It's like, you've got 3 YouTube channels. What were you thinking?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna put all of them in the show notes here
Oh, awesome.
for
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
you
I'd
can
like to
check
interview
check it
you
out.
for what you feel love is for my Love Symposium channel if you're open to it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you've
that'd
been
be
married
great.
forever.
Forever, yeah. 52 years. It'll be 53 years this July 29th. I know.
Congratulations.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely know love for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a great
Awesome.
guy. I
I,
mean,
s- I
I
so
yeah.
I so appreciate you so much, Elaine, and what an
Uh,
amazing universe to synchronize us and bring us together and connect souls and this is the way we do it, just listening and gathering and sharing and
mhm.
connecting and collaborating and lifting each other up. So, thank you for you
Right.
and thank you for having me on today.
Oh, oh, you're so welcome. I still blown away by how much we have in common.
I
You
know.
know, I
We
know.
are
It's just like at
doppelgangers.
every little turn. You know, I mean, I've only written one children's book, but I mean, the same thing. You've written children's books. You've written books for adults. I mean,
Mhm.
it's amazing. But the
You're
travel
amazing.
the travel thing was really the thing that went, "Oh," for me, It's like, "I gotta know this lady more,"
Yeah, and there's really no excuse to be bored. I do get I kind of did a little when I hear people say, "Oh, life is boring. There's nothing to do. It's so boring." I'm thinking, "No.
Mhm.
You're choosing to be bored. There's always something to
Exactly.
do. There's always
That's
even if you
right.
just go take a walk outside and say to yourself, "My intention is to see how many birds can I hear? How many birds can I spot up in the trees?" There's always something you can do
Right.
to experience life. So if you're saying life is boring, there's no reason to live, I'm bored, you're making a choice. And you can also
That's
make a
right.
choice to not have that frame of mind and rewire yourself to I choose today to learn something new. I choose today to challenge my boundaries. I choose today to do something that scares the peawad out of me, right? Just I choose a new choice, choose a new path. I think it was Einstein said, you can't solve your problems using the same logic that created them. So if you're the little hamster on
Mm.
the wheel that's stuck going round and round and round in the same old thing, choose to get off the hamster wheel, leave the cage, and go explore life, right? I think the
Right.
saddest thing is I had a coworker a million years ago when I was working at Caesars Las Vegas. Faithful employee. She always talked about when she retired, her and her husband were going to get an RV and they were going to go travel. And she was only 52 at the time. Never missed a day of work in 30 years. Always on time. She died of a heart attack punching out at the end of her shift in the hallway. And
Oh
no
my
one found her
god.
until it was too late.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So don't wait. Don't wait,
Right.
right? You either get Shawshank Redemption. I love quotes. Get busy living or get busy dying. I choose to live.
That's true. Me too. Me too. You're such an inspiration. This is
You
this
are
was
too.
great. I enjoyed having you on so much. We'll have to do this again. Different
Yes,
topic maybe. I don't know what, but we'll see. Yeah,
absolutely.
me too. Yeah.
Yes, and we
All
do.
right.
Thank you so much, Elaine. You're
You're
amazing, and I'm going to
welcome.
interview you for my other channel.
All right. Back at you. Bye now.
Take care. Thank you, Elaine.
What an inspiration Elizabeth is. I loved interviewing her. She is just like such a spark. And I hope you gain some inspiration from her. And I put the links to her YouTube channel and her books in the description below. Elizabeth is also a member of my Share Your Gifts community, and I also have a link to that in there as well. I hope you enjoyed this interview today. I plan on doing many more on this channel, and I'll see you down the road.